Thursday night, it's footy from all angles. Hello, Robbo.
Hello, Jared.
Sean Burgoyne. It's great that he's here.
Well, he's a champion of the game.
He is a champion.
He's absolutely a Hall of Fame entrant. I would suggest the first year he's available.
Yep.
3? When was it? 208? No, wasn't there in 208?
No, he won Port and 3 at Hawthorn, so 4.
Oh, he's in 300 games. Yeah, he's a product of modern football where the slide is extended. You understand what I mean? I reckon 10 years ago he might have played 270.
Mm-hmm.
Now he might be looking at 340. What a career.
And still as profoundly influential as he's ever been.
I asked Jordan Lewis before the show what his nickname was. He said he's the only person at the club that he calls by his first name. Sean. Oh, Sean's going to be here soon. Seems really odd, doesn't it? But I just noticed on the overlay, if you call it an overlay, Silk, that is the nickname that we know of him.
All right,
anyway.
Straight to the agenda because there's a lot to get through tonight. And the change to the fabric of the game that's been handed down by the AFL Commission today. The grand final replay is no more. When we assemble for the last game of the season, the prize will be awarded at the end of that day.
Mark Evans presented a paper to the Commission today for our consideration, and we have agreed that we will no longer replay the grand final and have accepted a new method of resolving a winner on the day. We took into account the historic value and uniqueness of this issue to our game, but at the end of the day, fairness to the competing teams in a national competition requires that we no longer demand a replayed match.
You get yourself into a grand final, and it's a gripping grand final, and instead of having the flat feeling at the end that no one's won, you actually produce the game for all ages. You have a fight out there on the day, and you walk away saying that is the best game in the history of AFL. I think that the chances of that happening out of a replay are diminished.
What do you think about eradicating the draw for the home and away season to standardise all draws?
We did consider that, but we decided to make no change.
So the specifics in a moment. Is it the right call to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
It's really funny, they're a funny mob, the AFL. They sit down and go, oh, the excitement, it's just going to be wonderful, it's going to be terrific. Why didn't they do it 20 years ago? If it's such a right decision today, why did they put up with it for so long?
I suppose that it's a lag while the competition truly became national. And then there are those, and I think Jared Healy's at the forefront of this, who have campaigned behind the scenes, I think pretty relentlessly, to go, you realise how wretchedly unfair this would be if it happens with a non-Victorian club.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm glad I lived through 2010. I'm happy to say that. When Bruce says it's unbelievable that it's happened, I can vividly recall that feeling. Yeah, it was unbelievable that it happened, and I'm glad that we lived through it.
Are you really?
Yep.
I thought the replay was dead. I thought the build-up for the second grand final wasn't anywhere near what it was for the first one.
And so the continuation of my point is, in retrospect, I feel shortchanged. So in the moment that it happened, you're going, oh, we're living a piece of history here. And I said this to you straight after the NRL Grand Final last year, is we got shortchanged. What would have happened next in one of the truly epic games I've ever seen?
Yeah, it was. It was.
In the way that fortunes had fluctuated and that bounce of the ball. In that 10-minute period, would Stephen Milne have kicked the winner, a la Jonathan Thurston?
Well, we don't know, but
no,
excitement.
And so that's why...
Yeah. So you're happy with it?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Not only for fairness, but for theatre and for bringing it to a head. The mechanism, 5 minutes each way, and then if scores are still tied, no siren, next score wins. And that seems to be the source of the heartburn.
It's not heartburn. It's just that when when the AFL makes a decision like that, people go, yep, no worries, and they try and find a problem with it. I haven't got any overwhelming issue of what the AFL has decided today. Now, people argue, and Scott Pendlebury took to Twitter, and respect Pendlebury enormously. Pendlebury got on Twitter and said, I think it should be the next goal wins rather than the next behind. You know, a guy's having a shot from 55, torp it, and it goes through for a point, that's the game. Should you have to kick a goal
Tony
to win it?
Tony Lockett put Sydney into a grand final in such a way.
No, he did, and that was
as
thrilling as
legitimate score. Isn't it?
Yeah, it is a legitimate score. Yeah. But I can understand Pendlebury's argument.
Yeah. What about double overtime and triple overtime?
Doesn't worry me. What else are we doing on
We've got nowhere else to be.
You just want to go to the September Club,
Just
Jared.
keep them playing.
Well, it'll get decided. It's not. I mean,
We are. It's one of those rare moments we are in furious agreement.
Ree, I thought we agree on a lot of things.
Not as wholeheartedly as this.
Yeah, see, it didn't resonate like, how great's this? It was like, about time.
Right.
That's all. Next.
Lee Montagna was in here a little earlier on
Yeah.
AFL Today, and he was obviously one of the participants in the St Kilda Collingwood draw.
I think it was inevitable. I think it's common sense, and I really like the rule. I think that now with the national competition, it's fairer for the players, and I think it's more convenient for everyone. As a player, the feeling of that hollowness and a bizarre feeling of not knowing what to do after a draw. I think now, can you imagine grand final day, scores a level and the siren goes, the atmosphere around the stadium, waiting for extra time, knowing it'll be decided would be amazing. So I think the difference from the feeling of that ground when everyone knows that everyone's coming back next week to extra time, I think would be huge.
We've had extra time twice in finals. 3-5 to nothing. North Melbourne kicked against Hawthorn in the 94 qualifying finals. 23-point margin.
Carey kicked 3-5 to Hawthorn.
3-3 to 2 behinds. Collingwood beat West Coast in Perth in the semi-final of 2007. So they were both quite decisive. Where do you sit?
Didak was great that night.
This is where we might disagree. So I've always been a staunch defender of the draw, but I am of the view that everything should be brought into line, and if we're going to play extra time and next score wins, we should be playing that in the home and away season.
I don't know why you thought I'd disagree with you on that one. I agree wholeheartedly.
Okay.
How boring's this show when we
that's
agree?
not ideal, is it?
God almighty. No, I like... Why have 3 different results? It's just ridiculous.
So, and this is as much to give all the participants a look at it, and maybe a little bit of practice in it, and maybe to iron out the kinks in it. It wouldn't hurt to see it 2 or 3 times over 2 years. What
possible kinks could be involved?
I don't know.
Score review?
I would absolutely, yes.
Imagine a score review.
Oh, now you're talking.
On a Monday
Now
after the grand final, and the score review, you find a reason for it to be wrong.
In this scenario, have we got a bunker yet or not?
So no. God, imagine that, score review.
That. So, I am a staunch advocate now of extra time in the home and away season. And that's a changed position on the decision that's been made today.
With you 100%.
All right. It was judgment night for Stephen May, who fronted up to the tribunal in Melbourne to answer for the cute clash bump, which seemed to shake the whole competition.
I only saw what I saw. It looked like he overran the ball to do it, which it tended to tick all those boxes, didn't it? But I'm not here to hang anybody. It's up for the match review panel to do their bit.
He had Robinson right there with him, and he keeps going. Collision, May! May's crushed him!
Who just shirt fronted him old school, and it is on.
You could just see the look on Stephen May's face, the realisation that he knows now that he's in some big trouble.
So how big was the trouble? Julian De Stoop was at the AFL Tribunal tonight. Jules, bring us up to speed.
Yeah, good evening, guys. It's 5 weeks' worth of trouble for Stephen May. Pretty simple case, really, as he has been since the incident. He was very contrite, very apologetic, explained how he spoke to Stephen Martin via text on Sunday. As for the actual incident, he said he made a split-second mistake, and that mistake was to go past the ball and deliver a bump when the ball was a realistic alternative. He did argue that he was trying to actually make contact to the body, and then he said he walked away, looked on the scoreboard, saw that he'd hit him in the head, and he said, quote unquote, as the Brisbane players were attacking him, "Go for your life, I'm stuffed here, I don't have a case, do what you have to do." Now, in terms of the matter of the Ablett pushing Stephen Martin towards him, that wasn't a factor, because Stephen May said he didn't even realise that had happened at the time, and he'd already conceded that his motivation was to go in and deliver a bump. So the only real point of argument came when Jeff Gleeson, the AFL prosecutor, said to the jury that they could, if they wanted to, upgrade it to intentional on the basis of the potential for serious injury. And he made the argument here that if Stephen Martin decided to put his head down and go for the ball when both players were moving at that speed, it could have been an absolutely horrific injury, and even worse than what's actually happened. So in the end, Jeff Gleeson was pushing for a minimum 5 weeks. Stephen May's defence team said it had to be 4. In the end, probably the fact that he's been remorseful, got a week off, but the fact he's got a bad record added another week, and they walked away with 5 weeks. As for Stephen Martin, the medical report says he's passed both concussion tests this week, and they're hopeful he'll play on Saturday night. But for Stephen May, it means we won't see him until the end of May.
Julian, did May talk about when he decided, or how early did he decide to go the bump?
No, he said he was running back to goal. He turned around and he saw the ball bobbling, and he saw Gary Ablett chasing. And basically, he said he wanted to take Martin out of the play with a bump, and that's when he decided to do it. And but he did admit when he saw the footage that the ball was there, he should have gone the ball. And as I say, he's been remorseful the whole time through, and he really didn't try and argue his case tonight. He put his hand up, and he was prepared to cop whatever he copped. And I think most people will agree 5 weeks is probably about right.
So as he left the tribunal tonight, thanks, Jules. This was Stephen May.
So I got a fair hearing. Got my 5 weeks. I'm obviously really disappointed with my actions. I'm happy Steph's okay, and he looks like playing this week. But I've let down my teammates, the members, supporters. So over the next 5 weeks, I'll do everything I can to help out around the club and get myself right to play. And just looking forward to getting back out there. Thank you.
So he's taken complete responsibility from the moment that it happened.
Yep.
You can't ask for more than that.
No.
Made a mistake. He's owned up to it. You said 5, I said 6. 5 is fine.
So I was right.
You were right.
Say it.
You were right and I was wrong.
Don't look at me, look down the camera. That'll never happen again in the history of this and the future of this show. At the time I thought, God, you bastard, buddy, it's a free hit. He wasn't ready and you took him out. As the days have gone on, Jared, I've actually thought to myself, he's a little bit unlucky. 5 weeks of a 22-week season, that's a big, big penalty. When not so long ago, that was just norm. And I don't like it being in the game, we know that, but 5 weeks. Now, Stephen Martin is likely to miss this week and come back next week. Jeremy Cameron did less than that in his actions, but broke Marchbank's jaw, so you take 4. They often say, we do take in the resulting injury into their penalty, but this time they didn't take it into their penalty.
I think the concussion. See, this is. I'm on a sliding scale now. No, concussion for me and the capacity for that.
I know you understand that.
I think that actually has to now move to the top of the queue.
A concussion ahead of a broken jaw.
The broken cheekbone mends, and you do miss a period of time. The inherent danger that we now know in the concussion, knocking the player out cold in the moment, I can't have that under broken bones. I can't. At the very least, it's on par. I suspect it's actually higher now.
Oh, well, it's a good point. We're having another disagreement. That's 2 in a minute. It's just a big penalty, 5. Because last year he got loaded up on the 1. He got suspended last year for the bump, which I didn't think he should have been suspended for, because he was bumping him out to protect the ball. And then I thought that decision was wrong. And a year later, he gets an extra week for a wrong decision that takes him to 5 weeks. It's just a really big penalty.
5 feels right. The rest...
You always have to get the last word in, don't you?
...is in the furnace.
It's rubbish.
If you don't want pressure, don't take on a senior coaching gig. If you don't really like pressure, don't take on the Collingwood coaching gig.
Right now, it's a game that could determine the very short-term future of Nathan Buckley.
But I find it bizarre that negotiations began nearly a year ago for a coaching immortal, and he, as we sit here tonight, has not had a deal announced.
But it's an inflammatory suggestion that you think that Collingwood might make a play for Alistair Clarkson.
I say that it would not be the first time Collingwood have moved on a favourite son.
If we want to talk about talent or not talent, you go by results, and you go by the results. Our results would suggest that we're a 50-50 team over the last 18 months.
That is something you see at local football on weekends, not AFL football, and that's why he labelled that performance embarrassing.
It comes back to the senior blokes to show up and front up and really lead the way for the younger players.
They stink, Jared, they stink.
Listen, you lost your spot. We've got all this personnel here. We've got to be true to them. You might need to put a game in the NEAFL.
If you're going to make a statement, it's Travis Clark.
We need him to stand up more than he has at this point in time, and this is going to be a tough period for him.
If Nathan wants to make a decision and correct the group straight away, I think he has to make a selection decision, and I think it's Travis Clark. He has to pay a price.
I thought it was a peculiar thing to say. Anyway, some of your views are peculiar, mate.
Peculiar times.
Peculiar. It's our favourite word on 360 now.
It's our word of the week. Real or overreaction here, Robbo, because the Actron air furnace has delivered us plenty. While Clarko remains unsigned, he's gettable.
Massive overreaction, Jared. In my opinion, linking the Collingwood pressure, the pressure on Collingwood and Nathan Buckley to Clarkson's contract not being signed was a very long bow to draw.
So ungettable?
Clarkson?
Yep.
No one's ungettable. We've got to be realistic. Jared.
Do you have to check that he's ungettable?
Could you imagine? How much time we got here?
I'll be quick with mine.
You can't.
I'll be quick with mine.
Right, you're trying to make me believe.
No, I'm only being devil's advocate.
Oh, well, that's just make believe then.
All I asked you was, do you have to check that he's ungettable? Anybody. I'm not naming a club.
Could you imagine it was revealed that Collingwood made a call to Alistair Clarkson or his management to see what's the possibility of, after what Eddie said in the last 2 weeks? Let's go to question 2, Jared. It's time to drop
It
Travis.
won't be as good as question 1.
No, time to drop. I'm staggered. I was staggered by that piece. Anyway, is it time to drop Travis Cloke? Real or overreaction?
I don't think I'd be any good at match committee. I've really wrestled with this. So he's going terribly, right? So we all put that on the table. Do you drop him for Anzac Day, or do you just say, this is it? It's Anzac Day, Trav. I'm going to go with...
You got me running through brick walls at the moment.
But I honestly don't know. I think...
Well, he's injured. He's got to...
I'm putting the injury to the side.
Right, the injury side.
And Bucks did make it clear last night that injury is not the only consideration.
There was a really great discussion on the couch last night.
Yep.
It's very, very topic. My opinion, I'd play him.
On the last roll of the dice?
Oh, but if you back yourself into a corner if you say, this is the last roll of the dice, so you don't play well, you're definitely out. Yeah. He doesn't have to be so cut and dried, Buckley.
That's why I don't think I'd be any good at match committee. Travis Cloke did speak with the media today.
I guess that's up to myself, really. So I sit down, get back to the drawing boards, get back to simple things, really, and probably grow a set and understand that footy's a fantastic life and fantastic opportunity to be part of. So and I'm looking forward to putting my best foot forward this week and enjoying hopefully a win for the Collingwood Football Club.
Are you feeling the pressure start to mount on you?
Once you walk in the doors of the Collingwood Football Club, the pressure's always there. I guess there's always been added pressure on myself, and I guess that's part of it. I know I probably bring a lot of it on myself as well, and I just look forward to the opportunity this weekend.
At least he stopped.
Good words. Grow a set.
Grow a set. At least he stopped and spoke, so well done, Trav.
Kingy was right, GWS can win the flag.
No, overreaction in my opinion.
We wanted a Giants question, but we've pitched it too high, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. Oh, I mean, the way the Giants are playing, if you haven't watched the Giants play the game on the weekend against Port Adelaide, have a look at the brutality, the slickness, the ball movement, the running, the stars that this team is putting together. Patton played one of his best games, you know. Lob, the big fella on the forward line, kicked 4. Mm-hmm. Everyone's playing well. They're great to watch. And I'll tell you what, every time you play GWS, Jared, you're going to know you've played in a game. They are an aggressive team. I hope they play finals. I now expect them to play finals. You know what I want? I want a Sydney GWS
you
final.
want one of those
finals. Oh, absolutely.
Nice.
Let's talk about rivalry.
Rapid fire through the next 3.
Melbourne can make the 8.
Whoa.
Wow.
Steady on. Steady on.
Did we just find another couple?
This is an overreaction. Remember when they lost to Essendon a couple of weeks ago? I like what Melbourne's doing, but just steady on. The AFL should have a send-off rule.
Hey! Stop it. Stop it. Realish. Realish.
Hang on, whoa. A red card is a red card, my friend. It can't be, we might send you off.
I couldn't say overreaction because part of me says, you know what, you take out their best player and he's off for the rest of the game. He might get suspension down the track, but the direct effect on that game could be quite significant. Now, if Brisbane won, it's okay. What if Brisbane lost by a point? You know, there would be a considerable lengths.
Yep.
So I think it'll be discussed further in a couple of years.
All right, no more, but I will say Jason Johannesson, a minimum 10 weeks with a hamstring injury, not surgery, but a bad results. The rest of our time, though, we are settling for Sean Burgoyne, who's about to join us at the desk. Milestone game 300 coming up. We'll give you a little laugh on the way to the break.
He's the best analyst in the cave, but David King. I can't hear a thing, Derm. I don't even know what you just said.
I'm Jared Waitley, and I'm a sesquipedalian, someone whom uses big words in order to make themselves sound more intelligent.
Oh, boy, that's one of the all-time great Falcons. Just hit him flush. Bell opens it up, and he's hooked it too far back.
So Menzel hasn't kicked a major this afternoon.
Ray, don't beat me like Big Mooney did to him.
Lots of hair floating around in that little contest.
This little picture here, we get right in on that. That is you in the blue jump, the fetching blue jumpsuit.
How adorable is he?
What about my mum Mary's Buffon haircut? Fantastic, good on you, Maz.
Look at the class. He's all silk, Burgoyne, to put them in front. He doesn't miss. Burgoyne, he's sold some beautiful candy. Burgoyne, brilliant.
Feeling pretty excited, can't lie. This week approaching, there's been a lot of requests from family and friends to come to the game, so I never thought I'd get to this point in my career to play 300 games.
Burgoyne, long. Oh, that's icing on a cake, isn't it?
It's quite exciting, and I know my kids are looking forward to this Friday night.
Friday night will be his night, celebrating a glorious career. Sean Burgoyne, welcome to AFL 360.
Thanks for having me, guys. Very happy to come in and have a chat with you.
Do you have a reasonable grasp on what it means? 300 is the big milestone, I reckon, in the game.
It hasn't really hit me yet. I know I'm pretty excited about it. My family's pretty excited. I never thought I'd get to this point in my career to get here. The numbers suggest that players who play 300 are very rare. But it's something that I'll probably look back later on when I retire with the other things I've been able to do in footy.
Who have you got coming on Friday night? How extensive is it?
Yeah, at the moment we're at 29 tickets for the game.
Do they give you 29 or do you have to scrounge?
I had to ask very politely to get them, but yeah.
You'd think they'd hand them over, wouldn't they?
I've been very lucky because the tickets, they go pretty quick at the club, and especially when they're free and Friday night footy, so everyone puts a hand up, but I've been lucky enough to get that many.
When we're watching the highlights then, it's easy to forget that you were a Port player. It is, with your success at all. Do you, when you were looking at that highlight then, does it all come back to you, all your time at Port Adelaide, or is it just a distant memory?
No, it's fresh in the mind. It seems like yesterday that I was there.
Really?
Yeah, it does.
Which is how long ago?
This is my 7th year at Hawthorn now.
So 208, left in 207?
End of 209 I left.
Right, sorry.
I spent 9 years there, played over 150 games, a flag there as well. So they were a big part of my life and my career, and time's just flowing. 7 years at Hawthorn's gone pretty quick as well with the success we've had here. I consider myself very lucky I was at the Port at the right time as well, where we played in a number of prelims and only...
Really strong Port Adelaide side, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. From 2001 to 2004 was really strong. Obviously only had the one grand final victory, but that period of time there we won more games than we lost.
The prevailing wisdom at the time was that your knees were shot, and I don't think Port thought you'd last the 3 years that you signed for at Hawthorn. Are you at all surprised to still be going at this point?
No, not really. I've always had confidence in my body. When I had the surgery, when I left Port, I just took it as the view as just a normal knee surgery that most players have, and treat it well, look after it, do the proper recovery, and I'll see out my contract, which was 3 years, and then we'll take it year by year after that. And it's been 7 years now. But there was some negative press to come out after I decided to leave, and surrounding the knee and, you know, my future and all those different things. But that was from people who didn't know me, who didn't have my medical records, who didn't know what my motivating factors were, all those different things. So I didn't really take too much notice of that. And I just listened to pretty much the medical staff at Hawthorn at the time, who gave me the right advice, and I'm still playing now.
You're a jet, Sean. Everyone acknowledges that. And it's great to have you on. I don't think you've been in here before. When we're talking to Jordan Lewis, he came up to me, but we're talking to Jordan before. When you get moved into the middle, it's like the move. It is. It's the move. We're in trouble. Let's Clarkson, right? Burgoyne, middle. When you get that message, or do you do it yourself? I'm pretending. Say you get that message. What are you thinking as you're jogging in? Right. Okay. The trigger's been pulled. I'm going in. How does that make you feel?
The planning start of the week when we know who we're playing. I know at some stage I'm probably going to start down back. I'm probably going to go on ball and go forward as well. And
who sends that? Do you make that decision yourself?
No, maybe once a game I might make that decision, but normally it comes from the coaches. But, you know, Hodgie's going to play that exact same role, and Mitch is going to play that role, and Cyril's going to play a bit different type of role. He doesn't come down back, but he's thrown around the midfield. So I normally head into most weeks knowing I'm going to be thrown around a bit. And just to be open-minded.
Yeah, but what about the trouble? What about when they're in trouble? That's the move, mate.
Yeah.
How goes right? Burgoyne's in. Now, you know, they've reset. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably, I know that once the move comes to go on ball or forward, it's for a reason. And I don't want to waste time when I'm going in there, because obviously it's towards the end of the game and you need to make the most of it, and you need to really probably simplify the game in terms of what do we need to do now? Do we need to win the clearance? Do we need to, you know, get it out to a runner who needs to run the ball because, you know, we're not running the ball enough, or do we need to actually kick a goal? So it's just simplifying the game and trying to play my role within the team structure as well, because you don't want to go outside of it and think it's all about me, because that's probably the worst thing you can do. So you've got to try to play your role within the team and just knowing exactly what you've got to do at that point in time. But we've also got Hodgie and Mitch, Cyril.
That's why he goes into the middle.
No, we all know.
We know now.
What's your best asset?
What was that?
I'm not too sure. Probably versatility.
Yep.
I've really worked hard over the last few years to try to be just as good in each position I go and play. I don't want to waste time, and I don't want to just make up the numbers when I'm out there. I really want to have an impact, whether that's forward, mid or back, just to be the best I can be in that period of time. And, you know, if it's go on ball for 5 minutes, we'll make the most of it. Don't just go on ball and float around, or go up forward and float around. Really have an impact.
You're the fifth Indigenous player to play 300 games. How does that make you feel? Is it bad for me to say you're the fifth Indigenous player, or why aren't you the 69th player? You know, or is it how important is it?
Yeah, well, those guys, you know, obviously Gavin, McLeod, Goods, Mickey O. I looked up to those guys as a kid coming through, and I wanted to be those players. I was very lucky to play with Gavin for a number of years at Port. So yeah, it's a bit embarrassing to be sitting along those guys, because you look at those guys' achievements in their life, Brownlow medals and so on. So
Norm Smith, was it?
Yeah, Norm Smith. So it's I feel a bit. It's a bit daunting to be sitting next to those guys, I suppose.
You have become a great role model to the next generation of Indigenous footballer. I'm sure footballers across the country, but has the leadership in that area become important to you as you've got older?
Yeah, I've taken it a bit more serious as I've gotten older. There's 9% of the lists are made up of Indigenous players, and as a senior player now, if I can help out those guys have longer careers once they get in the game and stay in the game, I'll definitely try to help out. And we have the Indigenous camps every 2 years, and which are really important, because you get together and you try to talk to the younger players and try to see what we can do to help make their journey and their careers a lot more longer, I suppose.
Life post-footy, or is it going to be post-footy? Have you got any ambition to coach in any way?
Probably not coach.
Not nuts enough?
No, yeah, you got to be. They're very bred to coach. You know, they put in long hours, very driven people. Yeah, it's probably a bit too much for me, the coaching side of things, because you see the hours they put in. They work really hard.
You don't want to work that hard?
Probably not as hard as that.
So, but still remain in football?
Yeah, I'll probably still remain in football, something in some role, but probably not as a coach.
All right, for now we'll zero in on Friday night and then enjoy that milestone game. The special boots. It's lovely that Puma has made you the set with Port Adelaide and Hawthorn, representative of the flags that you've played in and your achievements along the way. So wear them well. I'm sure you'll wear them with calm and poise the way you always do. Good luck.
All right, thanks guys.
Sean Burgoyne with us on AFL 360. A teammate of his next, Jordan Lewis, alongside Jack Riewoldt, our regular Players' Night.
Dempsey. Oh, no way! That was 20. Went about 25, and then the umpire didn't play holding the ball, but Lewis picks it up anyway and kicks it. Play on! Oh, he's called play on. He said it wasn't 15, so picked up by Jordan Lewis, who goes bang and kicks a goal. What a moment. Could that be the momentum changer?
Well, we all have bad days. Umpires had a shocking couple of seconds there. Have a look at this one. Montagna. That's 15. And then this one, over the cut grass, that's spot on 15, I would have thought.
That's your mowing strip 15.
Oh, you cannot do that, umpire. That's just giving him a goal.
Riewoldt gone down to the umpire and said, what the hell's going on?
Criminal! That is just not fair. That is simply not fair. That ball went about 20, maybe even 25 metres. The umpire said it wasn't 15, and Hawthorn has kicked the goal.
Not just Hawthorn, but Jordan Lewis, the chief beneficiary. Jordan, welcome.
I don't see what was wrong with it.
You want to hand it back?
What was wrong with it?
You should have just said, no, take it back. That was a mark.
Jack Riewoldt, how are you?
Hey, Jared, how are you?
So just talk us through the moment.
I mean, the kick came in board to Sab, and all I heard was play on. So Paul Pioplo executed the tackle, the ball came loose, and I thought, here's my opportunity. They don't come around too often, so why not take the chance?
Did you think it was short or not? Or did you have time to think?
I can honestly say I did not even have a clue. As soon as you hear play on, you just think, well, it mustn't have been 15.
Let's go.
Let's stay active.
Do you think there's confusion, Jack? I think there's a real issue in defence for defenders, which you'll probably like because you can close down on them. But I think they're really...
16 and a half, it's meant.
Was it? Yeah.
Intuition said it was 15. It was more than required.
I don't know if you guys saw a bit of a trend on the weekend, but I reckon that was mentioned during the week at the umpires meeting, I would have thought. We probably had a few in our game in the first half. Where
Chaplin went off his head in your game.
Yeah, a couple of eyebrow raises where you thought they were 15 metres. I think if they're going to be erring on the side of caution either way, pay the mark.
It's usually in defensive 50 where they err on the side of, it might not be 15, it might be 14, it might be 13. Defensive 50
is pretty... That? They put more pressure on the defenders.
Yeah, I'm not an umpire. I don't know.
It's not fair. It doesn't happen up the other end, Jack, often.
I'm not a defender, so I can't comment. I wouldn't know what the D50 looks like.
So what do you want? As players, what do you want from the umpires on the 15-metre rule?
I mean, if there was a direction to the umpires to come out and sort of be really hard on 15-metre kicks this weekend, I suppose as players you would want to know about that, because then you maybe second guess yourself. If you're going to make an inside kick like that was deep in the 50, you probably just then bang it outside the 50. But I mean, maybe it's hard because it's a matter of metres in this case, and the umpire may have just got it wrong. I don't know.
I reckon that was just a mistake, and
we all make mistakes, and unfortunately it cost St Kilda a goal, which amplifies the decision. But the umpire just made a mistake.
Matters of policy, the grand final replay has now been scrapped, so decided on the day no matter what. As a man who regularly goes to grand finals as a player, is that the right call?
Yeah, I think so. I've never really heard any St Kilda or Collingwood players talk about it and how much it actually took out of them coming back the following week. But I could imagine if it was a West Coast or a Fremantle or an interstate side, it would be quite difficult organising flights for everyone. So I think getting a result on the day is a good result.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Jordan. I think it's the main spectacle of the AFL season. And something needs to come to a head by the end of the day. I don't know whether I agree with the 5 minutes each way after the final siren, but then the next score wins. I'm probably a little bit up in the air about that. I think in my mind's eye, I like to see a player. I like to see myself maybe kicking the goal to win the game. I'd like to rather than a punch through for a point.
But is someone? It does raise so many connotations in your head. I can understand why the AFL went with that, because if you're in the defensive 50, you'd rush it behind. So you get it off and get that extra 50 metres to start your attack.
Yeah. Probably the more I think about it, I probably don't like the next point wins. Just play extra time. It's not as if the MCG is being used by anyone else.
No.
We can...
So what, 10 minutes?
Turn the lights on.
I don't know.
So you've been at the exhaustive end of a grand final. So 5 minutes either way. So you'd happily play 5 minutes either way repeatedly until one team was in front.
Yeah, I think so. I think after the final siren has gone for the 4 quarters, you would then get a break. So having that break and then coming out for 5 minutes, having another break, another 5 minutes, isn't really that big of an issue or a fatigue factor as a player.
So double overtime, triple overtime, you'd be quite happy with.
Yeah.
No, it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
You would want the ball in your hands, Jack, if the scores are level 3 minutes into the overtime. What if you missed? Not just you, but could you imagine missing a goal if it was just you have to kick a goal to win? You kick a point, they get it running down the field, they kick a goal. The pressure and the
pressure would be immense. But
it would be immense. It'd be unlike you've ever experienced before.
It's really hard to say without being there, but you don't dream about missing the goal after the siren. You never talk about missing the goal after the siren when you're a kid kicking around the backyard, Robbo. You play it around in the head. Don't worry, I'm kicking it straight through the middle.
But if you miss, you will be forever known as the person who missed the goal to win the grand final. It's a team event. No, it's a team. Footy's a team event.
It is, and
but
that is sport. That's how we have our heroes and nearly heroes in any kind of sport. There's always got to be a winner and a loser, and sometimes it's the cutthroat, I suppose, part of sport that we unfortunately see.
I just can't imagine life for that man who misses one from in the score. And if you missed from in the square, just sometimes skew to the right, you would never forgive yourself.
Revolts don't miss from in the goal square. God, I hope he's watching enough to say that.
Jordan, when you go to the club today, it's very rare that Hawthorn is the centre of any speculation, the coaching position in particular. When it is the subject of some discussion that Alistair Clarkson hasn't signed his contract and what that could potentially mean, is it muttered about in the corridors?
No.
Not at all?
Not at all. No. As a club, we understand that he's working through it, and I think he's even come out and said he's working through it, and the media probably won't even find out when he does sign. So as players, we have full faith in him signing, and whenever he does. I would imagine with the type of contract that is on the table, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. It's not just you sign the dotted line and everything is just exactly the same as it has been. So I would imagine there's a lot that goes into it. They're working through that, and I'm sure there'll be something quite soon.
Did you know of the article? Did you read it?
No, I did. I did hear it on Triple N this morning. They must have had a grab from Caroline Wilson, but there mustn't have been anything else to write about.
I was going to say, what did you think? Oh, hang on.
To be honest,
Clarkson's been linked to Collingwood.
I did not even bat an eyelid. Nothing. It's just ridiculous.
Sean Burgoyne's just been with us, celebrating his 300th game on the weekend. So he comes as a ready-made player. He comes as a player that many believed was at the end, and yet here he is running out his 7th season with the Hawks and now a far more decorated figure than when he arrived. What have you observed in him from his arrival and the player that he's come to be at the Hawks?
Yeah, I don't know why, but I've got goosebumps talking about him. It sounds funny, but he's just been an unbelievably good player for us, very durable. So it's funny that he came to our club and there was question marks over how long he would play for, but he's the Mr. Fix-It. If we need a centre clearance, it's how do we get Sean?
Lewis out, Burgoyne in.
It is, seriously. Lewis, get out. And Sean, how do we get Sean into the middle? Because he's just an extraordinary player. He's just been so valuable for us for those 7 years, and it's a key reason why we've been so successful. But he's so smooth and just calm under pressure. He's been a very, very good player for us.
It's been one of the great triggers in coaching moves in recent years. Hawks, trouble. Burgoyne, back flank, midfield, get to work.
Yeah.
And he very rarely lets them down. Very rarely.
Yeah. And you even see when he plays half-back now, one-on-one contests, very rarely lose.
Why did you get goosebumps?
I don't know. I didn't prepare for that or anything, but I mean, he's just been a good friend, obviously, and then just understanding how good he is as a player and how lucky we are to be a part of his career.
He's a quiet man, isn't he?
300 games is a huge effort.
Yeah.
Huge effort.
How many have you played?
240, something.
Jack?
180 odd, I think. Yeah.
Have you got any take on Burgoyne? He's in your part of the field.
Yeah, I look with AFL players and players of his calibre. As you speak about the 300 games, but I know that what he's had and what he's done for probably in the Indigenous culture as well around Australia, and speaking with a couple of our Indigenous kids, the level that they hold him on in esteem is right up there with the Wanganines and the Longs that have had a huge impact in Australian football. We're lucky enough at the footy club that we've got the KGI, which is a study for young Indigenous kids. They come all around and they love the Riolis, but they love Burgoyne. They love speaking about him. He's their idol and what he does.
Yeah.
So he's just, he is, I suppose, as I said before, he's right up there with some of the great Indigenous players that have played the game.
He's not quiet. I got that wrong. He's very softly spoken.
Yeah.
Sean.
Yeah. And you would have seen tonight when he speaks, his right eyebrow lifts up. Did you notice that?
The Rock.
Yeah. He doesn't know why it happens.
I didn't want to mention that.
There you go.
I didn't want to mention that. Tell you what, he might be soft. He won't be soft on Friday night.
No, he's very, very
And
hard
you guys were playing Adelaide Friday night. Did you watch the Swans Adelaide game?
I did.
Let's be blunt. I don't think Hawthorn are at that intensity at the moment. Is that fair or not fair?
I mean, we've probably played one game this year at our maximum intensity, but Friday night, no matter what it is, it brings
you just
it out.
have to, don't you?
Yeah. Friday night is, and against a good side, I mean, you can't be left waiting.
The Richmond side of things, what mood, what emotion do you attach to the predicament at the moment?
It's obviously not, we're not going as well as what we want, clearly, and we're not playing the way we want to play, but I'll keep harping on about it. It's a week-to-week process, and we're 4 games into the season. We've been in a predicament before. We were 3 and 10,
Yep.
2013, when 9 games in a row made finals.
Made finals.
Now, I'm not saying that's the way we want to go about it, but this group has shown when their backs are against the wall that we can rise up against it. We can string good groups of wins together, and the things that we're doing wrong at the moment are stuff that we can fix really easily. So we just got to continue to have trust in what we're doing, trust in the group. Hopefully we start to get some more senior players back, and we're really looking forward to playing against Melbourne on Sunday night, but also playing on Anzac Day weekend, which is really special for any AFL player.
So as matters stand, do you expect Marich will be playing?
He's available for selection.
And
that's a club line, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's actually a bit more definitive.
The Ferrari.
He's got a test on Monday.
The Ferrari trained today. But as I've said before, you don't risk him if he's not 100%.
Did you understand Dimmer when he said 1 step forward, 2 steps back?
I think I spoke about that last week, didn't I?
Did you? Okay.
There's 6 blokes under 20 games of experience.
Oh no, that's a step back.
That's just a natural step back.
Yeah, of course it has to be. So they went into a game against West Coast over there, Rioli, Manitou, and you're looking at the team. They couldn't go again, Jack, with the same. You cannot go ahead this season with the same group that has failed at 3 elimination finals. So he's trying to inject new talent. And with that new talent, there's going to be inconsistent effort.
We had a lot of players leave at the end of last year as well. We obviously lost Chris Newman to the dark side. He's over there coaching at Hawthorn now. Nathan Foley left. Ricky Pettit, Chris Knights. There's senior players that leave your group. You've got to replace
They didn't play, but they were in the group.
They're in the group. Yep.
It's a different thing. Everyone says, "Oh, they didn't play last year, Dimmer," but they're around the club. And those round the club characters with experience, they're gold.
We've got at the moment on the weekend we had Troy Chaplin who played and who's 30, and the next oldest is the group my draft age of 27. 27. So there's a bit of a gap there, but we expect more from our younger players. We expect more from our middle tier players and our better players. At the moment we're all not playing well. We're not playing well as a group, but can be rectified pretty easily.
MCG is a place to be this week, Jared.
Oh, very much so.
Saturday,
over and
Sunday,
over and over.
Friday night.
Friday, Sunday, Monday.
Yep.
Oh, can't wait.
Take a swag.
I'll stay there. What do you reckon, eh?
Stephen May got 5 weeks. Does that feel about right?
I mean, he ticked a few boxes, didn't he? So
just a couple.
Just a couple. Yeah.
Are you angry with him, or understandable that it's a split-second decision?
Split-second decision. No one goes out there deliberately doing that sort of stuff. It's stupid to suggest otherwise. He'll cop his whack. He was remorseful. He's apologised. There's not much more you can do. Just sit out and watch, and hopefully the little spell that he has burns in his stomach and comes back a better player and better person.
Is it worth 5, Jack?
Yeah, I think it is.
So Cameron breaks a guy's jaw, puts him out for 5 weeks, Marchbank, with a bump to the head, and he gets 4 weeks. Martin May miss 1. So how does it reconcile in your head that he should get 5?
Well, it's the action rather than the consequence.
It's the grading.
Well, it's usually the consequence rather than the action.
Correct. So I'm glad they haven't, because if it was the consequence, he'd get 1 week and be back playing. Stephen
There's
May.
a head-high hit.
Yeah.
And he's out, he's back next week.
All right, they're 2 big games, so the very best of luck. Jack Riewoldt, Jordan Lewis.
Thank you.
With us Tuesday nights on AFL 360. Tomorrow night, it's the old Stooges, Mark McClure, David King and Mark Thompson with the next instalment of the Bomber Diaries.
The 2016 NAB AFL Rising Star Award.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I suppose you don't really think about it too much as a young kid and coming up through the ranks. You just want to sort of play footy and live up to your dreams. I'd have to say probably Jack Redpath or Shane Biggs, I reckon. They just say anything and it makes me laugh. Nathan Rovat, he is just annoying in general. He just jumps around and just won't shut up ever. Nathan Rovat, I guess, again. Yeah, he's doesn't give you too much chill time. Messy, but clean if I have to be. I think the fullback from Carlton, the young fella Jacob Wiedering, he's a pretty handy footballer. I've experienced that on the weekend. He knows how to take a mark and he's very good at reading the footy and is a beautiful kick for a backman.
The 2016 NAB AFL Rising Star Award.
So Wednesday night, the regulars plus John Worsfold, the Essendon coach, at the desk, and Cam Smith, the Melbourne Storm captain. So Caleb Daniel, that's what he looks and sounds like. Kylo Ren takes the helmet off.
Who?
You didn't get that reference at all, do you?
No, who?
Kylo Ren.
Who is it?
Star Wars reference. Jordan did have goosebumps when he spoke about it.
Yeah, I know.
Too.
I know.
See you tomorrow night.
See you, Jared.
See you then.